Hello everyone, I'm Chris The Zelda Collector. I'm on to Gossip Stones. As we all know, it is dangerous to go alone. So this is the series where I'm joined by a guest and we just talk all things Zelda. And today we are still joined by Kevin Woolford.
Hello again.
Yeah, we are doing part 4. We have the end of our filming session. We have done 3 parts already. Part 1 was where we got to know Kev and found out a little bit about Zelda. Part 2 was where we asked Kev 12 Zelda-related questions. And part 3 was where we discussed Kev's favourite Zelda games. They have all been recorded and uploaded, so go back and watch them if you haven't seen them already. And now we are on part 4, where we're going to discuss a topic of Kevin's choice. It is got some links to Zelda somehow. That is the only stipulation. It has to link to Zelda somewhere. So yeah, come on and let us know what your topic is and how is it related to Zelda.
Okay, it is a NES game, and it is Willow, based on the movie. I know some people might be too young because we're oldies. We know about Willow. It's a old school movie starring Warwick Davis.
Yes.
People must know who he is. He's still a legend.
Of course
And the game is loosely based on the movie. And as I say, it's loosely based. It's the characters are all there. The spells and the items are there. The monsters are there. But the actual story is bonkers, just made up. And it is pretty much a rip-off of Legend of Zelda. It takes everything from it. And it does a little bit extra, which is pretty cool. But it also kind of takes stuff from A Link to the Past before it was released.
Yeah.
So I think that's quite interesting.
So obviously I don't know much about the game. I've never played it, nothing like that. I just kind of know mainly from you, stuff what you said. Obviously, on the last one we had Simon Lock On and we discussed Golden Axe Warrior, and I think that game was very much, it was a straight up copy of it.
Yeah.
It was trying to copy the game. So is this game, would you say, the same? Have they purposely gone out way to rip off Zelda, or is it more of a homage to it, or is it more just like taking bits what they think works and made their own new game, if that makes sense?
I think it's like a homage, but they've done stuff that isn't out yet, which is weird.
Yeah.
So, for instance, you start off in a village, and they say there's this evil monster that's up the road, and they need to get it killed, basically, and that's your job. So that's how it starts, and you have to look around the town. So there's the whole point of A Link to the Past, where you're walking around the villages and the towns and you're looking for stuff.
Right.
You can walk into different houses and talk to people. You'll speak to a guy who you can go to an inn and heal. You can go, so like instead of sleeping, for instance, you go to the blacksmith who will give you a sword. You'll go to another guy who's got a shield, and then a person who gives you a magic spell to heal. So you earn these bits, and as you progress, it feels exactly like A Link to the Past, which is weird, but it takes all of the item system and stuff like that, the way it lays it out, in the square, and it's ready to choose through the options.
Yeah.
You've got your heart meter, and you just progress, and monsters appear randomly. So you walk into, it goes from instead of just going one long walk-in platform, it loads in. So you walk out the screen, the next screen loads in, kind of like Zelda 1.
Yes.
So
yeah, because that would shift screen, wouldn't it? So you go off the thing and it shift over.
It would shift to the next bit, and then there'll be new enemies, and then you shift to the next bit, and then a new enemy. So it does that. The weird thing is the sword attack. He's got 2. So as you press forward towards an enemy and attack, he will stab. So like Zelda 1.
Yeah.
But when an enemy is coming at you and you don't do that, and you just press the attack, it does the side swipe like A Link to the Past.
Yes.
So I'm like, okay, so that's a bit weird. The graphics on it are fantastic, for instance. It's one of the best graphically looking games on the NES. He looks like Link, basically. He's walking around, he looks like a little kid. He's, a tiny person. So he's going around. And as you progress through the levels, it will say, you've got to find this item to enter this cave. You find the item, you enter the cave, you fight the monsters. But what the cool feature is about the game is you do level up. So there is a kind of grind to it. Like Zelda 2. So you've got that little grind to level up. Whereas Zelda 2, you always attack the same. Yeah. But as you attack, you'll get stronger attacks on Zelda 2. Whereas on this one, the sword's heavy. So you pick up your first sword and he goes like that. As you level up, it goes like that. And as you level up, it's rapid. So you get stronger as you're going along.
Right, so also your attack becomes quicker as if you're getting stronger and you swing it quicker. Oh,
and it hits harder as well.
That's interesting.
And so as you're progressing, you pick up different items like explosives and spells, and you've got stuff that can stun enemies. Like, so instead of the boomerang, you've got an acorn. You throw the acorn at them, they freeze. And then you can attack them. So it's got that, which
like the Deku Nuts and Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, and like it was the boomerang, wasn't it? On the was it first game?
Yes,
yeah,
the boomerang.
So yeah, you stun them, then you can attack them, and the enemies randomly come in, and sometimes they will spawn Zelda 2 style. So you walk along, and then suddenly, bam! All these enemies just appear from nowhere, and you can choose to fight them or you can flee. But it's best to kill them to get the XP. I can't really fault it. The music's really good, but the graphics are what blew me away because it's so much like A Link to the Past in graphic style. I mean, if you're playing it on an original NES with composite or RF, you're not going to get the full whack. But when you play it on like a high-def NES or an emulator, you'll be like, wow, this is beautiful. This looks really good. And the style of it is exactly like A Link to the Past. And it was before that. So it kind of makes me think maybe they had a hand in it because it's made by Capcom.
Yeah.
So maybe they were like, right, we're bringing this game out. I mean, the game was released, I think it was 1991. So it was late. So, you know, the SNES was out by then. A Link to the Past was coming out.
Yeah, well, I wonder if someone was like 92, wasn't it? So
I wonder if they had some sort of inside information where someone was like, we're making this game, we'll have a look. And they were like, oh, yeah, okay. We'll just borrow some of that. Because it's a clone for the abilities and everything. So I feel like they've stolen a lot from it. It's got a mixed bag of reactions. It's not an easy game again. It pays off to kill the enemies, but you've got to kill them in a certain way. You can't just go 1, 2, 3, they're dead. Like the enemies will come at you in a certain way. Like they'll come up with a shield which you can't attack through, and then they go for a stab. So you've got to step back, then stab forward. So you've got to learn different abilities for different characters.
So it's not a hack and slash. It is a fought.
It is a proper
process,
which I think they've taken, you know, from Zelda 2 because there's not much out at that time, and it's near the end of its life. But yeah, I feel it's a game that everyone who's a Zelda fan should play.
Yeah. Because
if you like Zelda, you'll love it. And I don't own it. I wanted to buy it. It's from PAL B. It's a PAL B game from, I think it's Germany. It's in English. And it costs about 25, 30 quid. But I have an EverDrive. So I decided to test it. And I ended up completing it. Yeah. So it was like, I played it. And I was just like, man, the graphics are ridiculously good. And I was like, this is just Zelda. It's like there's no difference. I looked up and people said, yeah, it's akin to Zelda. It takes from it. And as I said, it borrows loads from it. So
so would you say is it more A Link to the Past or more original Zelda, or would you say it is both. It's a mashup of both?
Yeah, it's got the original Zelda heart, if that's what it is, with the abilities, the attacks and things like that. Then it's got A Link to the Past features, the way they attack, the way they move, the way the levels move. I just feel like it's very... I don't know if I'd like to know someone on the inside that said if they, you know, borrowed the stuff or not, because for something like that to come out just before it and be pretty much the same game.
Well, it's even now, it's even harder nowadays, but it's very hard to have an original idea nowadays. Yeah. So obviously back then, if you've seen the likes of Legend of Zelda, but they might have been just trying to improve on themselves, and the next logical step might have been to improve in that way. Pretty much like how they did with A Link to the Past. But yeah, it does sound a good game. I'll sell us from 10 to 4. If you speak from your heart, I know which you'll pick. But speaking from your head and the way it plays, would you say it's a better game or worse, or where would you kind of compare it to?
It's nowhere near A Link to the Past on terms of how epic it is. Yeah. But compared to Zelda 1, it's a massive leap in quality. Like, Zelda 1's a great game, fantastic game, but if you put the two side by side, it's like playing a NES game and playing the SNES version. That's the difference. It's such a big difference, even though it's on the NES. And it's made by Capcom. And if you know about NES games, Capcom games were top tier.
Capcom are just...
Your Mega Mans, all your Disney games. All the Disney games were fantastic. Everything they put out. So when I saw this game was made by Capcom, I wasn't interested. And I saw it as a Capcom. I was like, can't go wrong. Fired it up, and I was just hooked. And I finished it all the way through. The only one nitpick that I've got is to kill the final boss, you have to be level 13. Doesn't matter if you're level 11, 10, you have to be 13 plus. Right. So it goes up to 16. So you get to the end boss. It's like the film. You're attacking the witch at the end. I don't know if you've seen it. You're attacking the witch. You cast spells at her, basically. But she casts spells too. And if one of your spells hits hers, it stops it. And you have only a limited amount of magic power. So as you're casting it, if you hit any of it, it's game over. You just have to die. There's no way of killing her, which I found really tedious at the time. So what I did was I looked online. I found a code, which took me to the same point in the game. It had all the same weapons, everything the same, but I was level 16. And then I carried on, and I did the dungeon at the end, and I killed the end boss, and I was like, this is great, it's fantastic, and I really enjoyed it. But that was the only nitpick for it, was that if you were 11 and you went in, you wouldn't think anything, and then you start fighting the boss, you run out of magic, and she only dies to magic. So once you're out of it, it's game over. You can't sword her up. She's an invincible. So, but yeah, if you need to play a game on the Nintendo and you finish Zelda and you finish Zelda 2, you can't go wrong with that. And because we're in the UK, we didn't get it. It came out in PAL B. So, but to import it and obviously make your NES region free, it's really easy to do. Yeah. So definitely worth grabbing.
No, it sounds a really good game. I've got. I was just that much. I was getting excited. I lost my train of thought about it there. No, so how did you hear about it? Was it just you heard about it was an exclusive and you wanted to pick it up? Did you know?
I have a list of all of the games on PAL A and then PAL B exclusives, which is what people do. So the next step from PAL A collecting, which is the full set, they go on to PAL B exclusives. They don't get the whole PAL B, just exclusives, which we didn't get. So I was like, well, I'll look at the names of the games, and I was going to each one, and you've got your Little Samson, you've got your Mr. Gimmick, the big end games, and I saw Willow, and I was like, oh, I like that film, that's all right. So I looked it up on YouTube, and it says it was made by Capcom, and I watched some gameplay, and the gameplay was horrible because it was on composite, filmed on YouTube back probably 10 years ago, and I was like, yeah, I could see what it's like a Zelda clone, but I can't really, make anything on. So I fired it up on the high def NES, and I just was straight away blown away by the music and graphics, and I was just like, this is A Link to the Past before A Link to the Past was out. Yeah. And for me, as a fan of Zelda games, you can't go wrong if you can get a game that's almost the same for free. Well, not for free, but you haven't got to wait for another Zelda game to come out because there's another one here, and it is exactly the same, and you will enjoy it. I mean, it's fantastic. Yeah, so if you're a fan,
I'll have to add it to the list. I'm always on the lookout for Zelda clones, or whatever you want to call it, clones, homage, rip-off, whatever you want to call it. I'm always on the lookout for them, just to see. What gets me is how other companies approach the same game. Yeah, that makes sense, because obviously Nintendo, they're fantastic what they do, but there's other companies out there who try and do the same. Again, like Golden Axe Warrior now, I know Willow's out there. It's just interesting to see how they approach the same game, basically. So yeah, it's definitely something I'll be adding to my list to play.
Yeah, if you didn't know about it, and if you didn't know what Zelda was, and they said this is the Legend of Zelda, you'd play it and you'd be like, wow, this is great. And then you'd play The Legend of Zelda, and you'll be like, "Oh, that's a rip-off of Willow."
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I wonder if that's actually happened. I wonder if anyone's played that game first, and then for some reason don't know who Zelda is. Then they found that game like, "Wow, this is just like Willow," and I love Willow.
But it's the same again. NES games are hard. They're not super easy. So a lot of people, they either love it or they hate it, and the reason they hate it, same as Zelda 2, is a bit too hard for them. But if you progress, you level up. Fantastic experience, great story, even though it's nothing like the movie, the story, but the game is just fantastic. Superb.
Great stuff, Kev. It sounds like a very interesting game, and I'll have to keep my eyes open for it, and I think I'll be doing what you do. I'll be getting it onto a
never ending list. PAL B American. Japan.
Yes. Yes, and we're about towards the end, but as always, I do like to finish up part 4 with some submitted questions. We do record live in front of our very small Discord group, and we've got some questions left for you from some of our viewers.
No problem.
The first one is from JW, a very regular viewer of mine.
Yeah.
And he wants to know what your top NES game is, what your worst NES game is, and one game that surprised you.
Right, top NES game. This is going to sound weird, but DuckTales. That was my childhood game. You know, everyone had their childhood game. You know, the one that they would always play that would just rings home with nostalgia. Now, DuckTales, if you've played it, you must have played it. It's a fantastic game.
Course. It's
very,
amazing.
very simple. The music is incredible. The graphics are lovely. There's nothing wrong with it. The number 2 I didn't know existed at the time. I didn't know. So now I'm older and it's come out. I enjoyed that just as much. But number 1 rings home. That's my top NES game.
It's just the pogo stick what makes that game.
It's a wicked mechanic.
From a standard platformer to the pogo stick, it just makes that game, I think.
So yeah, that's my top one. Did you say what was my worst?
Yeah.
One that's I've got in the set, which is indie, called Indiana Jones. You know, The Last Crusade.
Right.
It's called indie. It is the worst graphically, movement, control, like everything about it is absolute dire. Like the character, the model's there, but he's got a border around him, a big white border, like it's off a Game Boy game. Right. And there's no reason for it. And he walks animatronic. And it is so hard. You come up to guys who've got guns and you've got to defeat them. But while you're getting to them, they're shooting you. It is the worst graphically. It's brown. The whole game is brown. There's no other colours. The music's terrible. It's just, that's the worst game I've ever played, probably, in my life. It is shocking. And it's not a cheap game. It's like a 50 quid game.
Yeah.
It's an uncommon game, but it's so bad. And a game that surprised me, that would be Monster in My Pocket.
Yes.
On the NES. Yeah, Monster in My Pocket. That is a fantastic 2-player experience. Walking along, beating people up as you're going along, fighting monsters. And obviously you're tiny, a monster, and everything's big, so you're going through kitchens and down staircases, sliding down the banister. You have to play it. If you ever do a live stream again, you have to play it with Gav.
I keep saying it a lot. I keep thinking I'm trying to pick it up. I do hear a lot. Because obviously,
fantastic.
I don't know when the game was released. You could actually get the
monster. It's rare.
Yeah,
everyone lost a monster. Yeah, it's worth a lot. But if you get it and play it with Gav, you'll love it. I can't fault it. Me and Kieran played it. Great fun. It's not super hard, but yeah, really enjoyable. You'll love that.
Nice. I love hearing about stuff like that. I'd say, especially a game I've been looking at recently. You know, I've been hearing a lot about it. So
I think it's about 15 quid.
Yeah.
And you can get it 15 quid box sometimes. So, and it's worth every penny. Real hidden gem.
Right. This one is from Staff Woodsman Neil, and he wants to know. He knows that you're a massive Marvel fan, so he wants to know what is your favourite Marvel game, computer game.
Wow. I have to admit, a lot of Marvel games aren't that good.
Yeah.
There are a lot. I don't know. It's a hard one. I do like the Lego Marvel games. They're all right. You know, the level Marvel Avengers and stuff like that. The level Marvel, because they're just fun, and you get to use all the characters. You get pretty much a roster of hundreds of characters to use.
Yeah.
But what else? I'm trying to think of actual Marvel games. Spider-Man. You can't go wrong with Spider-Man games.
For me, it's probably Spider-Man on the PlayStation, PS1. Probably one of the very first ones. I used to love them.
You know what? X-Men Arcade. The arcade game back in like the 90s. The X-Men game. That was great.
Last weekend, I was at Arcade Club in Bury with a bunch of people, TNT lads, and
They haven't got out, have they?
We played and completed the 6-player double screen X-Men Arcade.
I'm going there. I've got to go there. I haven't played it since I was a kid. It's fantastic.
It's rare. I've only heard of it. I've never seen one in person before. And I was there. It's the double screen arcade, and you have 6 people, 6-player arcade.
That's brilliant.
We all squashed up like this, big as on the top.
Yeah,
squished
tiny.
in, double screen, and we beat it. It was incredible.
Oh, it's a great game. The voice acting is hilarious in it as well.
Yeah.
Very cheesy and like English, they
did the
call
whole
it.
thing where we thought we beat it and it was a mistake. So we had to
Yeah,
go on, now we had to go
got
and
to carry on.
beat.
Yep,
Yeah,
it's
it
brilliant.
was
That's a
incredible.
fantastic game. Yeah, definitely. I'd say, yeah, go for that. Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah. Right. Another question. This one is from Nin Retro Beast, a friend of yours, and he wants to know which NES game would you go back now and complete what you couldn't in the past.
Now, for me, it was nearly Batman, wasn't it? That was
Yes.
many hours of trying the end boss. The Joker just ruined my life. But Castlevania is the one that hurt me the most. Castlevania, getting to Dracula, and I just could not kill him. And I'm watching guides and looking at people playing, and he fires the 3 fireballs out, and they spread out, and everyone jumps over it. It's him in the head. I cannot jump over him if I'm too near, too far. Never. Maybe 1 in 10 attempts, and he killed me over and over for like 3 hours.
Yeah.
And that really, I was just depressed because it was so hard. And now I know at the end when you climb the stairs up to Dracula, you can walk up, farm the lanterns, pick up all your items, go back down, come back up. Then you've got maxed out weapon, as many hearts as you want, and you can just go boomerang. You know, the not boomerang, the cross. You could just throw it non-stop and just kill him. So now, if I go back, he's dead.
So you want to play it again to see, because you know
I want to kill him. Yeah, but that's a hard game. That is really tricky. The amount of times you jump, get hit, and you know the knockback that you get on NES game, straight down a pit,
Yeah.
dead. But yeah, that would be that game, definitely. But yeah, fantastic.
Right, we're going to have one more question. This is from Jay again, JW. And it's basically, it's relating to what's sat behind you, as we know you are a full set owner of NES games. And you want to give you any advice for anyone collecting NES games? What would you give to people who's collecting NES games?
Then I'd say only pay what you're willing to pay, because you can wait. People will be greedy, as you know, with eBay and places like that. You see a game, that Dinosaur Peak, people will want £350 for it. Don't pay it. You will get it for under 200. It will go lower and lower. Just pay what you're willing to pay. And also CEX. CEX is a fantastic place to get games. I know it's a bit rough. Sometimes you buy 10 games and 3 of them are damaged, and you have to send them back. But it does often pay off. And games which were like £18 to £20 on eBay, I was getting for like £6 on CEX. And if obviously you go to the car boot sale, you're trading in a couple of Mario Karts, and you've got yourself a really good copy of Castlevania. So that's only going to cost you £2. So as long as you're savvy about it, that's the best thing to do. But just don't pay more than you're willing to pay, because everyone's got a limit, and just don't fall for the greed. That's it. But with a UK set, it's definitely a UK set is easy. It's the Italian and the Australian ones, because the Australian ones have got the massive import tax. No import tax on Italian, but Italians make the prices a lot higher. If it's in Australia, the game will be like £20, but in Italy, it'll be 150. Australian, you pay the import, but Italy is just a greed. So yeah, pay what you're willing to pay. But a full NES set, UK only, is easy. You can do it. Simple.
How many is there in a UK PAL set? Is it?
There's 296 in the full set, so I think it's like 224 something, 240, 242, something like that.
All right.
So, but the expense is all in the Italy and Australia. That's where the expense is. But all the others, you can pretty much get most of your set from CEX for pounds. They have games for £2.
I'm a third of the way.
Yeah, you get games for £2 from CEX, which is mad. I know you got to pay £1.50 postage, but where can you get a retro game, which is probably a decent game like Blades of Steel, for £3.50?
Yeah.
So yeah, CEX is the way forward.
Right. Well, I think that's going with us, Kev. It's been a good topic of choice here. We'll own an NES. And then thanks for answering the questions for our lovely viewers.
No problem.
Just a big thank you in general, really, for taking part.
Thanks to you as well. You've relaxed me. Like, yeah, as you know, I suffer with anxiety, and I was a bit at the beginning, and I've just been chatting to you, and it's been great. Fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously, this has been spread out over 4 parts, but we've just done a good couple hours filming session there, so it's been great just hanging out all night and chatting.
Yeah, thank you.
And yeah, like I said, I think that's it. So thank you everyone for watching. I hope you've enjoyed that. Like I said, it's in 4 parts, so if you haven't seen the first 3 parts yet, go back and watch them. Like I said, part 1 was where we got to know Kev. Part 2 was where we did 12 Zelda questions. Part 3 was favourite game, and you've seen part 4, so you don't need to talk about that one. But yes, it has been incredible. I've already thanked Kev once. I'll thank him again. Thank you so much, sir. It's been great. And we shall just see you all in the next video. Bye.
See ya.